Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on which part of the world you're joining us from. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. On behalf of the ANDE team, I would like to officially welcome you to our second virtual cross-chapter dialogue. We are absolutely excited to have you join us this morning, afternoon, and evening as we engage with three inspiring entrepreneurs who are going to be sharing their stories. Most importantly, we would like to offer you an opportunity to interact with one another and to connect with one another. And I think this is a fantastic platform for each and every one of you. Before I go into housekeeping, for those of you who are not familiar with ANDE, ANDE is known as the Aspen Network of Development Entrepreneurs. We are a global network of organizations that propel entrepreneurship in emerging markets. As a result, we have a presence in 8 different regions across the world, including India, Brazil, and South Africa. And this is what really brings us today, the 3 chapters deciding to collaborate, but most importantly, connect each of the ecosystem players together. While most of our countries are far from each other and apart, we believe that we share common challenges, development needs, as well as opportunities within our entrepreneurial ecosystems. Therefore, once again, on behalf of ANDE, I would like to officially welcome you and thank you once again. Moving on to housekeeping, please can I ask that you rename yourselves on Zoom in the order of your first name and your organization so that you'll be able to engage with each and every person. Also, if you're not speaking, please may you mute yourself. If you're dialing in from a phone, please can we ask that you try and connect on a laptop as we will be making use of some of the features on the Zoom, but most importantly for the breakout sessions. If you do have any technical difficulties, please feel free to message my colleagues, Aditi and Onteba, who are part of this call. Last but not least, we do have a translator available in this session. So please can I ask that in the event that you require translation from Portuguese to English, you may click on the interpretation button right next to the record button. Last but not least, colleagues, I'd like to ask you to please have as much fun as possible, to interact with one another, but most importantly, we hope that you'll enjoy our session. Thank you to the ANDE team for organizing this session, and I'll then hand over to our next speaker. Thank you once again for joining us.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tendai, and I am the Senior Program Associate at ANDE in South Africa. Oh, I forgot to say good morning also for everybody in Brazil, and good evening for everyone who's dialing in from India. So as Sakai said, we are here to also have fun and to network and to really enjoy ourselves. So just to start off, we would start off with a very small icebreaker where I will ask if you can please feel free to say hello in your language. So feel free to unmute yourself, or I can start. I am from South Africa, but I'm also from Zimbabwe. So I do speak about 5 languages. In South Africa, we actually have 11 languages as official languages, but I can start and I will all greet you all in my language so you can hear. I will say Masikati, which means good afternoon. So can I ask Cypria to please go ahead and say a greeting in your language?
Thanks, Tendai. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to see all of you dialed in for this event. So my mother tongue is a language called Telugu. And in Telugu, when we say hello, we say namaskaram. So I would like to welcome all of you with that statement. And whoever wants to go next can start us off, please.
Okay, if there's no one, I'm going to pick. Please, can I have Nonteba say hello for us in a language?
Hi everyone. In my language, I would say Dumelang, which is Setswana, a South African language as well. So Dumelang everybody and welcome to today's cross-chapter dialogue.
Rebecca, can we hear something from Brazil?
Yes, hello everyone. So in Brazil we speak Portuguese. So I'm gonna say Olá a todos, sejam bem-vindos ao nosso evento.
Okay. I will not put anyone in the spot, but I think we do also have a unique guest who is also from another country in Africa. Joan, please, if you can say hello in your language.
Okay, hello everyone. In my language, hello is Mulimutia. Yes, so Mulimutia to all of you. It's nice to be able to interact with you today.
Okay, without further ado, we will get into our program, but please feel free to say hello in your language, in your names, in the chat, and we will be monitoring it that. So now I'm handing over to the regional chapter manager from India, Suchi.
Hello, everyone, and it's an absolute pleasure, as always, to be part of these convenings, and I hope that at the end of today, you will all agree. Without further ado, let me introduce the wonderful entrepreneurs that we have to start this session off, and this is, in no particular order. We have Joan Nalubega, who's the founder and CEO of Uganics. As a young child, Joan suffered frequently from malaria. Through this, she has found meaning in her own suffering and an incredible intrinsic motivation to create a malaria-free world. As a scholar at Social Innovation Academy in Uganda, she works with social entrepreneurship frameworks from which she grasps both the economic and social implications of the business model. As a Tony Elumelu Fellow, Joan has managed to secure both seed funding and wide network access to foster relevant partnerships. Welcome, Joan, and absolutely wonderful to have you here. The next entrepreneur is Nidhi Pant, who's the co-founder of Science for Society, S4S Technologies. S4S Technologies is a near farm gate food processing platform, converting farm losses to value-added products for the food and beverage industry, saving time, cost, and energy for them. S4S trains landless women farmers, transforming them into micro-entrepreneurs by providing the right combination of technology, finance, and market access. S4S is working with over 2,700 women farmers and serving over 1 million customers. Nidhi is the winner of the Women Transforming India Awards instituted by Niti Aayog of the Government of India in collaboration with the United Nations. She is also listed in the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia. Nidhi holds a bachelor's in chemical technology from the Institute of Chemical Technology in India. Welcome, Nidhi. Lovely to have you here. Our third and final panelist for today is Silvana Bahia, who's the co-director of Olabi, which is a social organization that seeks to democratize the access to technology in the construction of a more diverse and fair world. Silvana is also the coordinator of Preta Lab, an initiative that focuses on stimulating the inclusion of Black girls and women and indigenous women in the field of new technology. She holds a master's degree in culture and territoriality from UFF, and she is an associate researcher from the Art and Artificial Intelligence Group at USP and from the Research Group on Information and Communication Policies and Economics at UFRJ's postgraduate program in communication. A very warm welcome once more to all three of you. And I will hand over to Nidhi to start us off.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Mumbai, India. It's great to interact with all of you and share some of the experiences. I was born to scientist parents. My parents are nuclear scientists in the central government facility in India. And we come from the northern part of India, which is the Himalayas. And my parents have, which frequently faces a lot of natural calamities in India. My parents migrated from our small village to Mumbai as they seeked employment, and have been very deeply involved in community building activities. So whether it's, and using science as an enabler in the process. So early in my life, I had a very scientific as well as a social combined upbringing to, and was very aware of the fact that we can actually use scientific knowledge as an enabler for our communities that have so many problems, whether it is in education, water, sanitation, agriculture. And my parents actually struggled to put me to school. And as I grew up, I used my privilege as a tool through which I can also continue what has been the most inspiring option for me, which is choosing to be a social entrepreneur. Though my parents actually would definitely didn't want me to uh, uh, choose agriculture. They thought I could be a bit more more scientifically involved and choose space engineering. I studied chemical engineering in Bombay, and I was 18 years old when I ventured into entrepreneurship. With a couple of college friends, we were all doing our own small thing in our laboratory when one of our professors got us all in and gave us this option that why don't you guys actually commercialize it, gave us a proper understanding of what it means. We were having a small product. We never had any business model. We didn't have the base in which we can actually run a business, but definitely had a problem in hand, which we definitely wanted to solve at scale. So 6, 7 of us got together, and that's where in the university my journey started, both as a young entrepreneur and also a female entrepreneur. And at that point of time, when we don't have a lot of skill, it's our enthusiasm that actually, what we lack in skills, we make up with our enthusiasm. And that's how my journey started. And in the whole, that was 5 years back. And at that point of time, the whole ecosystem, whether it is government, whether it's accelerator incubators, was just upcoming in India. And we were all just listening to very cool things like Uber and like valuations, and that was all borrowed from a Western mindset, and we were just learning some of these things at that point of time. And as far as also science for society, so it very well reflects what I wanted to do uh, since that my childhood. And we were venturing into a lot of, we had a big small baby incubator, we had some technologies for water and sanitation. We were a small consulting group when we decided that hey, we actually commercialized a few technologies, we can make some impact. That gave us a lot more confidence.
Nidhi,
And
sorry
yes,
to interrupt, but we have some non-native English speakers. So there's a request for you to maybe consciously slow down a little so
sorry,
that they can follow.
please
No
accept
worries.
my sincere apologies. So we got some confidence that hey, the problems that we were solving for various external clients, is there a potential where we can actually develop a product and start a business of our own. And we decided to choose agriculture as a field. Our university gave us a chance. We were selected for Dell Social Innovation Challenge. We met Michael Dell, and I think that was one of the transforming moment for us, where we realized that, hey, there is something called a company, which you can make and you can commercialize also. So that's been more of a starting point for me, how we started up. Initial days were a bit challenging in terms of not understand, like most of us were technologists, not understanding what a market size would mean, what are the other things that are required to run a business and have that business acumen, which we were very fortunate to have got help from various incubators, accelerators, and also attracted a lot of capital in terms of grants as well. And those are the ones who actually helped us test our ideas, whether we are whether we want to test anything which is in different geographies, different business models. And in the process, we realized that we only have a product and it needs to be converted to an entire model, which would also be more financially viable. Earlier, we were in the business of selling equipments. Now we sell food that we get from those equipments. My journey as a female entrepreneur has been it's been very mixed. I did have a lot of support from our mentors in the ecosystem, people who have who believed in us. It was a new idea. It was something, I think it was just our energy and our desire to keep on asking questions, our curiosity that we would always ask for help as well. So the combination of a few of these things, and also being a bit more perseverant in the journey. We didn't give up in the middle. I think for first 4 years, we were just strengthening our model, our technology, and being very self-aware that this works and this does not work. And we are not married to our product and our idea. We are married to the impact that it that can have by adopting the right model, and also in a more sustainable, financially sustainable way. Some of the other disadvantage that I faced was I was young. So a lot of people thought that this is the company of my father, this is something that my husband has built. And so a lot of those stereotyping uh, in the trade was that I faced. Not a lot of hard talk or commercial talks. A lot of people are comfortable doing it with women, whether it is negotiation, whether it is pricing. So some of those things did take time to build. I think I don't have any, I still don't have any answers what work, but just being a bit self-aware that there are gaps both in terms of skill set, and also there are a lot of conditioning in that goes on in the, and a bit more patriarchal system was something that I think I accepted very well, and never decided to change anything, but just adapt very quickly to whatever was happening. And I think that was my way in which I reacted. There were many signals, and I think I was very good in catching some of them early on and reacting to, or not reacting to anything. Today, there are 70 people in our organization, and it's a mix of who have come from the agriculture, well experience, and also from startup ecosystem. And now people do take, now I have seen a lot of these problems also reduced, whether it is with trade, whether it is internal. We are on our journey of creating value across the ecosystem, whether it is for our customers, whether it is for our venture investors, and also for our farmers. So I'm actually looking forward to interacting with all of you. And this has been a it's been a wonderful experience for me. Entrepreneurship in itself, I get to do something different every day. A lot of times I believe that business is supposed to be more rigorous, which is doing the same thing again and again and doing it well, being more efficient. But I think what keeps us also going is so much of encouragement from the ecosystem, also having an opportunity to collaborate. You cannot actually preempt that what would each day look for you. Things are very different, lot of new opportunities that come our way, and all of this is majorly also through the ecosystem partners that we have, whether it is Shell Foundation, whether it is Acumen, whether it is our other early accelerators and incubators like Nexus, government support. So I have been very fortunate in getting a lot of help from them and also integrate it in our model. I think it's been a wonderful journey that way, very satisfying, and I look forward to interact with all of you. I think my time's up, but it was wonderful, and I look forward to your the other two entrepreneurs from Brazil and South Africa. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that, Nidhi. And I think just to reiterate what I've already put in the chat window, if you have any questions for the entrepreneurs as they present, please let them keep them coming through chat, and we will convey them and have them answered. Just a quick note before we head to the next presenter. Silvana will be presenting in Portuguese. So we have a translator who's going to be interpreting that for us. In the Zoom panel below, you can see a globe button which has the word interpretation on it. So if you can click that and head to the English channel, there you can hear you can basically hear the translation of what Silvana has to say. With that, Silvana, over to you.
Olá, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. Primeiro, gostaria de agradecer esse convite. É um prazer estar aqui representando o Brasil, as empreendedoras do Brasil, e é uma grande responsabilidade também. Eu fiz uma pequena apresentação, eu vou compartilhar minha tela. Eu não posso compartilhar minha tela, está dizendo aqui.
I'm gonna check it, Tendai. Silvana would like to share something, so maybe you can.
Agora foi. Obrigada. Bom, eu queria falar um pouco sobre esse empreendimento que eu faço, que tem a ver com um estímulo, né, de mais diversidade na produção das tecnologias. Eu já fui apresentada, eu sou diretora do Olabi, eu sou pesquisadora, jornalista, empreendedora, mas eu acho que eu me defino melhor como pessoa curiosa, e eu acho que é por isso que eu tenho feito tantas coisas nos últimos 10 anos que eu achava que era até improvável de fazer. Falando um pouco sobre o Olabi, a nossa organização nasce como um maker space, que é basicamente um espaço de fazer equipado aí com essas máquinas de fabricação digital. E a gente trabalha aí por uma missão, né, que é de democratizar as tecnologias. Quando eu falo de democratização, eu estou falando sobretudo de acesso e de estrutura, né, para que pessoas diferentes também possam não apenas consumir, mas produzir, construir as suas tecnologias. Nós trabalhamos em cima desses 3 eixos, que é tecnologia, inovação e diversidade. E hoje a gente tem 4 preocupações que orientam as nossas ações. O Olabi é uma organização que tem vários projetos diferentes, mas aqui, pelo meu tempo, eu vou falar apenas de um projeto, que é um dos projetos que eu coordeno dentro da organização. Mas falando rapidamente das 4 preocupações que orientam as nossas ações hoje, a primeira dela é a questão da longevidade. A segunda, ciência e tecnologia, que são um fio que estão em todas as nossas ações e metodologias. A terceira é o diálogo entre áreas de saber. E a quarta, que é a questão racial, porque no Brasil, para a gente, não existe questão mais urgente, né, do que o racismo. E aí eu vou falar um pouco mais sobre o Preta Lab, porque eu estou aqui controlando o meu tempo, que é o projeto que eu criei e que eu coordeno dentro do Olabi. E ele nasce de um incômodo que eu comecei a pesquisar, a procurar dados sobre mulheres negras em tecnologia no Brasil, e eu não encontrei. Esse é um dado dos Estados Unidos, que diz que apenas 4% das startups de tecnologia são comandadas por mulheres negras. Aqui no Brasil, eu encontrei um levantamento que foi um estudo feito pelo grupo Poligen da USP, que é da Escola de Tecnologia da USP, a Universidade de São Paulo, que diz que em 120 anos apenas 10 mulheres negras foram formadas na Escola de Tecnologia. Ainda um dado sobre o Brasil, apenas 16% é o número de mulheres que ingressam, né, nos cursos relacionados à computação e tecnologia. E aí, por que falar de mulheres negras, né? E eu poderia dizer que é porque eu sou uma mulher negra e isso atravessa a minha experiência no mundo. Mas, para além disso, quando a gente está falando de Brasil, a gente está falando do maior contingente populacional, né, do país, que são as mulheres negras, que representam aí 28% da população, mais de 28%, e que lideram os piores índices quando a questão é acesso a direitos, ou violência, enfim, a gente está realmente na base da pirâmide social. Acredito que no mundo inteiro, mas no Brasil isso é muito nítido de ver. E aí, explicando melhor o que é Preta Lab, ninguém entende muito bem o que é Preta Lab, mas a Preta Lab é um projeto causa, né? É um projeto causa sobre a necessidade, a urgência e a pertinência de incluir mais mulheres negras no campo da inovação e da tecnologia. A gente começou em 2017 fazendo um levantamento, já que essas pesquisas oficiais não existem, né? Não existem hoje pesquisas oficiais que tragam essa interseccionalidade de gênero e raça nesse universo, e a gente fez um levantamento informal e mapeamos naquele primeiro ano quase 600 mulheres no Brasil inteiro. A gente também fez uma série de vídeos, a gente faz eventos, curadorias, trabalha com diversidade em empresa. E aí era sobre isso que eu queria falar mais. Em 2018, a gente começou a entender que era uma vocação do projeto trabalhar aí com empresas, organizações que querem construir diversidade da porta para dentro. A gente fez um primeiro projeto piloto em 2018 com a ThoughtWorks, que se chamou Enegrecer a Tecnologia, que foi um processo seletivo focado na contratação de pessoas desenvolvedoras negras, e a gente trabalhou com eles desde da primeira comunicação sobre esse processo até as últimas seleções, e conseguimos preencher todas as vagas. No ano passado, em 2019, a gente lançou essa plataforma, que é uma plataforma de perfis, que reúne perfis de mulheres negras em tecnologia e que tem aí pelo menos 3 objetivos. Um, que a gente possa se conhecer entre a gente. Um segundo, que a gente possa contribuir para a visibilidade do trabalho dessas mulheres. E um terceiro, de dar uma resposta para o mercado de trabalho que diz que não encontram pessoas negras qualificadas na área de tecnologia. Só aqui, desculpa, só aqui a gente tem mais ou menos 400 perfis de mulheres negras e hoje a Preta Lab é uma rede de 900 mulheres no Brasil inteiro. No ano passado também a gente realizou uma pesquisa que era para entender como que a diversidade está inserida nos times de tecnologia nas empresas no Brasil. E o resultado foi esse, né? Basicamente, das pessoas que responderam à pesquisa, 68% são homens, né? Brancos, 58,3%, e jovens, e 60% jovens de classe média e classe alta. Eu acho que essa amostra ela mostra bastante o quanto que tem um perfil bem padrão, né, que constrói as tecnologias que a gente usa. E esse levantamento, na verdade, ele foi só para confirmar algo que a gente já desconfiava, que era a falta de diversidade na produção das tecnologias. Ainda no ano passado, a gente participou de uma aceleração da IUNOS, e que foi muito importante para a gente entender um pouco qual era o nosso negócio, né? Qual era o nosso negócio de impacto, porque a gente vem desse mundo das organizações sociais, que muitas vezes não acha que o que faz é um negócio, E ali na IUNOS foi bom porque a gente conseguiu entender e sair com algumas metas para esse ano. A primeira delas era criar uma metodologia para as áreas de RH e marketing, realizar 3 eventos em diferentes cidades e acompanhar 5 empresas para medir o impacto, né, do nosso trabalho com essas empresas. Só que fomos pegas aí com a pandemia e a gente está agora terminando de desenvolver essas metodologias para marketing e RH das grandes empresas, e a gente fez mais de 30 eventos sobre diversidade e inclusão esse ano de 2020 e apoiamos 5 empresas em contratações intencionais, né? E mais de 30 mulheres da nossa rede conseguiram emprego ou foram freelancer em algum tipo de trabalho por conta dessa ponte que a Preta Lab faz. Esse ano a gente também lançou um podcast chamado Preta Pod, que tá mais uma camada de conteúdo, de geração de referência. E eu entendo quando as pessoas não entendem o que a gente faz, porque ao mesmo tempo que a gente faz, a gente tem uma plataforma de perfis, a gente ajuda empresas, a gente também faz formações, né? E agora a gente acabou de terminar o nosso primeiro ciclo formativo com mulheres negras da tecnologia, que durou 3 meses, porque a gente entende que para reduzir esse gap que a gente tem, né, essa ausência de mulheres negras também no campo, no mercado de trabalho, é muito importante formá-las, né? Então, a gente não é uma universidade, a gente não é um grande centro de ensino, mas a gente também gostaria de contribuir com skills necessárias para essas mulheres ingressarem no mercado de trabalho ou se manterem no mercado de trabalho. Hoje a gente cumpre aí, a gente impacta 3 objetivos, né? 3 ODSs, o de igualdade de gênero, trabalho decente e crescimento econômico e de redução das desigualdades. Bom, tudo isso para dizer que se o futuro ele é high-tech, e a gente sabe que ele é de fato high-tech, a gente quer construir um futuro que caiba a mais pessoas. E para isso é fundamental olhar para as mulheres negras no mundo inteiro, mas principalmente no Brasil. Então, eu queria agradecer e dizer que é importante que a gente tenha mais diversidade na tecnologia para, de alguma forma, mitigar os efeitos negativos que a tecnologia pode trazer, mas também porque a gente vê a tecnologia como um lugar que pode ser interessante para o desenvolvimento das mulheres negras. Esses são os links com o meu e-mail, o Instagram do Preta Lab e o nosso site, que também tem versão em inglês. Queria agradecer e ansiosa para a nossa conversa.
Very much, Silvana. That was really, really interesting. And I really think the work you do is phenomenal. Next up, please feel free, people, to put questions in the chat if you have, and we will get them answered as best as we could. Next up, we have Joanna Nalubega, the CEO from Uganics. Joanna, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Wow, this is phenomenal for the past entrepreneurs. You're all in technology. But yeah, my name is Joan Nalubega. I'm the CEO and founder of Uganics. Sorry, I decided to switch off my camera because it's raining here, so the network might be bad. So Uganics is a social enterprise that is fighting malaria in Uganda and in Africa. As most of us know, malaria is one of the leading cause of morbidity and immortality in the world, and it kills over 292,000 African children every year before their 50th birthday. Me, myself, I suffered a lot from malaria when I was little. I grew up in an orphanage, and this made me miss school a lot. I was bullied, and most of my schoolmates thought I had HIV because of my sickly life and my size then. That's why I decided to turn my painful experience into strength to fight the disease. And in 2016, that's when I started developing Uganics and the product. So we wanted to, there's a lot of interventions and solutions that are brought up to fight the disease, but these solutions are not really effective in the rural communities and they rarely reach there. So for example, the mosquito repellents on the market are not targeted for low-income communities in low-income countries because they are very, very expensive, so they cannot afford them. And the only measure we've been having for decades are mosquito nets, which are effective but only during sleep time. So at Uganics, we wanted to develop a product or a solution that is easily accessible, that is affordable, and that is not going to involve a lot of behavior changes for the people that we want to support. That's why we decided to blend our first mosquito repellent into a soap, because soap is an everyday product that even extremely poor families use on a daily basis. And we sell it through a very unique business model to the high-end tourism industry and to the high-end market locally at a high profit margin to cross finances for the low-income communities at the same price as they buy a regular. Organics is we work with women to do the product. So we have 2 centers with over 37 women that we train on how to extract essential oils and grow the herbs that we use. And so how we do it is we identify women with families, women that are taking care of the families in the local communities. But then when they have some land that they already use for agriculture, but when they can add on some other agricultural methods and they can grow something else. So we identify them, train them, and we help them know how to utilize the small land they have to be able to make an income. For example, all the families we are working with, they are families that never used to even earn $10 in a month. And right now they earn more than $100 in a month. So in this case, they are able to take care of their families. And most of the women are really happy because they are part of a campaign to fight malaria. They are also contributing in their families to fight malaria in the families, but also contributing to the growth of their communities, because we do community work in the communities. We work in, for example, to construct, for example, like wells, construct like the extraction centers, and a lot of people they benefit from it, not just the women. But yeah, I can really go through what we do with Uganics, the amazing work we do, but most of which you can find it online. Today, I really want to I want to share my experiences and I want to share what I've learned throughout my entrepreneurship journey as a young entrepreneur, but also as a woman entrepreneur. And yeah, so one of the things that has helped me and Uganics really reach where we are, only in my country, and these are the local people. And so that means we have other millions who've impacted in the urban community internationally, because we have international distributors in Europe and in the US. So, but locally only we've impacted over 1.8 million. So one of the things that have really helped me reach where I am right now with my team is network, making connections with fellow entrepreneurs, making connections with incubation programs. Like this network has really, really supported me, because as an entrepreneur, I feel we need to create a network of fellow entrepreneurs, fellow women entrepreneurs, because we go through almost the same challenges. And maybe I've gone through a challenge that you've not yet gone through, but if we are a network and we are working together, you can always share with me and I can always support you, or you can always support me to go through a different challenge. But not only challenges, we need to share the good moments, the good moments, the mistakes that we make, so that we can learn from each other. But also always having a person to run to when things are not going well, or when you need to get any knowledge to feed on. It's this network that always comes in and supports you. I've had a network of, I have a network of more than 200 entrepreneurs that I can always contact when I need them. Contacting, and also it's very important how you really make contact. It's also very important to make the relationships you create, or we create, very, very clear. Because there are times that we, for example, this is something that I learned in 2018 when I was on the IBSA prize. We meet a lot of people on events. For example, here I'm going to meet Rebecca, and I'm going to just send her a hi, that is not going to bring in anything. But it's good to really understand the person you want to connect with and understand how they can benefit us or how we can also benefit them. So we contact them with that specific thing at that moment. And then the relationship can keep on being built by itself. So that is one of the things, but also I've faced challenges as a female entrepreneur. For example, in 2016, I was connected to by one of my mentors from the ministry, a person that there was a youth entrepreneurship fund. And I went there, they connected me. I made an appointment with the minister. I went to his office. I was only 19. And then when I went there, he asked me, I presented Uganics, told him about my idea and what I really want to do, my big vision that used to scare me myself. And he just asked me one question: how old are you? I told him my age. And he asked me, aren't you supposed to be at school? You're a girl, you're supposed to be at school, you're supposed to finish school, then after get married, because that's your destiny, that's what you're supposed to be doing, you know? And at some point, I really felt so much discouraged that a person who is supposed to actually support me to move forward is a person that is telling me this is not possible, you're wasting your time. He even mentioned that you start dreaming, you want to rule over the world. He said a lot of things that really discouraged me, and but I am glad I didn't give up. But like that is one thing that I thought about at that moment. But that is not the only challenge I've faced as a woman. As women, we all, I'm sure all of us here have faced some scenarios. For example, men themselves, right? When you become an entrepreneur, you're a successful businesswoman, you make hard decisions. They feel there's a way they feel scared. Like they feel scared of us. And like every time you talk about like personal, when you're out of business and you're trying to really involve with people, a lot of even our friends, they'll tell us, you, a man is going to be scared of you because they think you're very hard to handle. You're going to make them be like the women in the house. You're going to like boss them around. But that's not the case. We just want our voices to be heard. We don't want to present the image that we want to be serious. We just want to contribute to the change or in our communities, on our continent, like to. So these are things that we face on a daily basis, and they scare our potential as women to actually contribute or to achieve our visions or the purposes we've set for ourselves. But at least one thing that I've learned from that as a woman is, and as an entrepreneur, I've learned and I decided to not or to never let the negative energy and expectations of people that don't believe in me for any reason, especially for being a woman. I decided to never let that put me down, because I feel we women are very strong to ignore these things and inspire other girls and women that are out there that are looking up to us, that have visions and goals that they want to achieve. If they look at us and they're like, I've seen, if they hear about you, if they hear or if they see you on TV, on internet, they'll be inspired to also push and achieve their goals or and work on the things they want to achieve. But so I think this is one thing we can do for our fellow women, to keep strong, to keep pushing our visions, to never let the environment, what the environment pushes us to do, affect us or affect whatever we want to achieve. Because yeah, the environment, or it's not going to change right now. The perspective, the perceptions of even some of our fellow women or the men is not going to change right now, but it's up to us to never let it affect us. So that is one thing that every time something happens to me because I'm a woman or a girl, I just ignore it and I'm like, this doesn't matter to me, because it doesn't take away my knowledge, it doesn't take away my hands, it doesn't take away anything that I can use to achieve whatever I want to achieve. It's just something that is going to affect me mentally, and I can let it go. So yeah, but so with Uganics, so that is one of the success things that I think I achieved with Uganics, me ignoring those things made me like really look forward to where I'm going to go and made me be focused. And yeah, so that is one thing. But besides that, I've also faced other challenges of I am not I'm not yet a professional in the business that I am doing. I never started any business administration or something like that. But I've been working as the CEO for Uganics for the past 4 years, and I always learn as I do. I've taken a couple of courses to do these things right. I always ask questions when I need something. That's why I said building a network around us is very, very important. I'll contact you and ask you, how do you do this? I have this challenge. How do you think I can go over it? And this has really helped me so much to be open to ask, to seek for help and to speak to people. And yeah, so we are going to, like, as entrepreneurs, we face a lot of challenges, even from the people that believe in us or that have shown us that they believe in us. For example, in 2017, when I was developing my product, I went and present. I developed it for over 2 years, and somehow my mentors were tired of it. That I used to produce and fail, produce and fail, test and fail, and then finally, when our product was proven, I went and presented it to our mentors, and then they asked me, how much would you sell the product? And the production costs were really, really high. And they told me, maybe you should leave alone the product and concentrate on the campaigns that you make in the communities. And yeah, for like around 5 hours, that's the time that I really wanted to let this go, to let Uganics go. For around 5 hours, I was really down and I tried to sleep. I tried to give up, to let this go. And like, I was like, if my mentors now have given up on me, then for sure, like, there's nowhere to go. That means there's no solution, because for some time I had pushed away most of my friends because I didn't want any negative energy in my life at that point. I was already confused enough to have other people confuse me. But when you have a challenge, when you have interest or passion for something, there's a way you cannot rest. You have a restless mind when something happens. And that's when I actually thought about the business model that we are using right now, trying to sell the product to other people that are already using it at a high profit margin to make it cheaper for the people, for the market that I wanted to get that product. So what I'm trying to talk about here is even the people that we put all our trust, or that we think or we feel believe in us the most. At some point, they also maybe get tired of believing in you, and maybe they also start doubting, maybe this is not the right thing for you. But then, yeah, sometimes it might not be the right thing for you. It might not be them pushing you down. It might be them helping you move on. But I just feel if you have passion for something and if you want to do something, there's always a way out. There's always a solution to move you forward. So yeah, I just think we should never give up. We should never let what someone think of us make us let the things we love go. Yeah, I think my time is done. But thank you so much. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you so much, Joanne. That was very, very inspiring. At this point in time, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Cypriya, who will handle the question and answer section.
Sure, thanks for that. So I think we have a few questions coming in through chat in no particular order. I think, Nidhi, a question for you was around how, while the number in India has increased in the past 5 years, we see fewer young graduates taking up the path of entrepreneurship. And given that this is a journey you went on, you began right after college at 18. Has anything changed in the ecosystem to facilitate this now better? And what prompted you to take that plunge right out of college?
Thanks, Cypriya. Yes, definitely. That's right. It's also because younger people also look for instant gratification. Uh, there are there are different ways in which the options are also more, and I think not a lot of people of our generation, which is more like millennials and generation, we have that patience to go through that rigorous path that it actually takes. So that's first. And the second, yes, in terms of ecosystem, many things have changed. First is the universities themselves have had so many new programs. There are collaborations, even with the government has started uh, to find the entrepreneurs at young age, give them the right resources, building just their just giving the overview of the curriculum, a lot of times support networks, right mentors, people who have gone through that journey, also connects with the industry. So there are the ecosystem this way, and the most important part is the competitions. Like there are so many of these available opportunities where networking has, I think, just become so seamless these days, where you just need to be present with your idea, where you are actually trying to pitch or present it to a wider audience, and definitely you would find, you would generate interest, you would have so much of inbound these days, rather than you cold mailing people that, okay, hey, take my deck and have a look. So I think that's also very well changed now in the ecosystem. There are integrators, we call them, who would, just like Andy, who would connect people, who would say, okay, this person is doing some relevant work. There is scope which could be included. So I think ecosystem that way has very much evolved. It is just that our generation also need to uh, you to be a bit more patient in the journey. A lot more perseverance is required, and I think the success stories that we hear that, okay, are all very outliers. In a normal entrepreneur's life, it definitely takes time. So we in no way can actually accelerate that. The only thing that we can do is to be at it and ask for help and reach out, and rather and not be, a lot of times entrepreneurs who are younger also not asking for help as they're embarrassed or insecure that, okay, it might just be not look good, to accept that they don't know something. A lot of times it's also good to acknowledge where there is a lack, or where you are not expected to be expert in everything, whether it is finance, compliance, or in a sectorial thing. So having that awareness that that you don't know, and accepting that is also very important. And if you just keep on flapping and covering that up, a lot of times just eliminates entrepreneurs from the ecosystem sometimes. So that's just my.
Thank you. I think, yeah, definitely. I think patience and resilience are qualities that keep getting reiterated whenever we hear stories of entrepreneurs. The next question I have is for Joan before we move to Silvana, where we will require the assistance of the translator. So, Joan, the question for you is there a formal network of sorts for women entrepreneurs in South Africa and Uganda where you operate as well? If yes, then what about that network that you have access to is different, or has it been more valuable when compared to other professional networks?
I don't know about South Africa, but because there are different networks around the world for women. There are different networks around the continent for women entrepreneurs. So I feel every network you can be part of, for as long as it's for fellow entrepreneurs, for as long as it's for other business women and men. I feel it's important. There is always something that we can learn from each other, no matter who. There's something you can learn from me. There's something you can learn from Nidhi. There's something you can learn from anyone. So whichever network you're in is unique in its way. And yeah, so I don't feel like there's any network that is different from the other, but yeah, but like we want to have the reason for us having networks is we want to be there for each other. We want to be able to support each other. So if you can be part of any network, whether in South Africa, or whether in Uganda, or whether it's on the whole continent, it's just important for us to build networks around ourselves because there's a way they support us, not financially, but they are there for us when we have questions, when we need help, when we need knowledge.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for that. I think just in the interest of time, we can do one question for Silvana, and if there are others, we can get them try to get them answered from the entrepreneurs post this conversation. Silvana, I know Rebecca's already done the job of translating the question for you. So the question that I wanted to ask is, what are you noticing about diversity or the lack of diversity in Brazil's gig economy? And if Olabi collects more specific data in full-time versus freelance part-time roles? I think more just in terms of the way you operate. That's the question from Nelson.
Bom, obrigada pelas perguntas. Eu vou começar de trás para frente. A gente não tem, o Olabi não tem hoje dados coletados em tempo real. A gente está fazendo um trabalho agora de geração de indicadores sobre o nosso trabalho, entender quantas mulheres da rede conseguiram trabalho fixo, quantas conseguiram freelancer, e hoje a gente ainda não tem esse número, né? A gente está agora fazendo esse trabalho que é de medição de impacto, né, das nossas ações. E sobre a falta de diversidade na economia do Brasil, isso é um número bem gritante, né? A gente vê o quanto que mulheres e pessoas negras em geral estão localizadas muito mais na base da pirâmide, muito menos em lugares de poder, né? E, ao mesmo tempo, somos as que mais empreendemos, temos aí, lideramos, né, boa parte do que é o empreendedorismo no Brasil, mas quando a gente vai ver também em termos de financiamento, nós somos as que temos mais financiamentos negados também, né? E eu acho curioso essa coisa de também olhar e ver que as mulheres negras são as que mais empreendem, o que é uma coisa muito interessante de olhar, mas também isso demonstra uma outra coisa, que é o quanto que somos menos absorvidas em trabalhos formais, né? Então, bom, é isso.
Thank you so much, Silvana. I know there's one more question. I will request Rebecca to have that answered from you, and we can circulate that with the participants later. With that, we do want to ensure all the participants today have the opportunity to connect and interact and learn from not only the entrepreneurs, but also each other. And with that, I will...
Thank you. I think that everyone is back. So I just want to say that we came to the end of our second Brazil, India, and South Africa cross-chat dialogue. And I would like to thank you all for being here, and especially to our speakers, Joan, Nidhi, Pant, and Silvana, for sharing their experience. Hope you all got inspired with their entrepreneurs' journeys like I did, and have enjoyed and make all connections in our speedy network session. And hope to see you soon in other events. So thank you all for being here. And if you have any question or doubts, you can get in touch with us by the email that's our invite. And thank you all for being here.